Hello, I'm Dr. Jeff Gold, and of course, I have the honor of serving as the president of your University of Nebraska system. Welcome to another episode of Shaping the Future. Here in Shaping the Future, we connect with remarkable faculty, staff, students. We connect with alumni and community members who are truly making a difference. And we have a very special guest today. Our guest is Pranita Devaraju, who is an aspiring student leader. Pranita is a fourth-year medical student here at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, and her academic journey started in Omaha, where she earned dual degrees in piano performance and in biology from the University of Nebraska at Omaha. As the student body president and student regent for University of Nebraska Medical Center, she's taken on the important roles of advocating for her peers and helping to shape the future of healthcare education, policy, and access. In addition to her academic and leadership achievements, she's a talented pianist and a lifelong learner who finds joy in everything from classical Indian dance to gardening. It is truly, truly a privilege to have her with us today to share her story, her vision for the future of healthcare, and how she's using her talents to make a difference. Pranita, welcome, and thanks so much for being with us today. As I said in the introductory remarks, you had two different majors when you were at UNO. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about growing up in Omaha and how you got so interested in both music and in a career in the health professions.
Yeah, so I was born in Omaha, raised in Omaha. I went to Millard Public Schools, and all throughout my life, honestly, music has been a big part of that. So my mom's side of the family is very artistic. My grandma is a singer and a violinist, and my mom is an Indian classical dancer herself. She actually runs a school in Omaha, and I, of course, attended classes from as long as I can remember, and I started teaching as well. So art has always been a big part of my life. And at one point growing up, I was playing 7 instruments. I've forgotten a lot of those instruments at this point, but I
Do you remember which 7 instruments?
Oh gosh, let's see. So piano, violin. I played percussion, so it was on the drum side, and also mallet instruments. I played the string bass. Gosh, I think
Well,
that's what I can
quite
remember.
a collection. But I remember listening to you play piano, and you're really quite a talented performer.
Thank you.
But what about your interest in healthcare, and how did that get started?
Yeah, so it's actually a funny story. My dad always encouraged me. He was like, you should be a doctor when you grow up. And because he encouraged me to be a doctor, I was like, I will definitely not be a doctor.
Sure, we never
when I
take
grow up.
advice from
No.
our parents, right?
No,
Well, wait till you're a
definitely not.
parent and you try to give advice. You'll
Oh,
find
yeah.
out what that's
I'll
like.
get a taste of my own medicine.
Yes.
And so I was really dead set on being an engineer. I'm analytical, detail-oriented. I liked math and physics a whole lot. But then at the end of my senior year of high school, I realized that engineering isn't all just math and physics. It's a desk job a lot of the time, and I realized I really wanted something where I could interact with people, everyday people, and care for them. So begrudgingly, I came back to medicine, and my whole family's very thrilled about that. But
Well, so are we, because you've just been an amazing student and an amazing leader. Now, how did you get interested in student government? Because that's, med school is tough enough, as you and I both know, and student government is just another major tap on your time.
yeah, so I really didn't have student government on my radar when I first entered school at all. But during my 4th year of studying piano at the School of Medicine at UNO, I was tapped to join the new Student Advisory Board, which is something that Dr. Garcia had started in our 4th year. And I was nominated, and I took on that role, and I just really enjoyed talking to students and then talking to Dr. Garcia one-on-one or in a group, and just being able to be a liaison in that way. And when I came to medical school, it seemed only logical to continue that since I liked it so much.
So let's talk a little bit about that role in student government. We could spend forever talking about what it's like to be a med student, but I'm sure it's hard work and more work and some combination of the two. But also, I'm sure, very satisfying. But your leader as a president of student government and as a student regent carries a lot of responsibility with it. And how do you view that? And how do you interact with the key stakeholders to be sure that the important issues of student government are front and center?
Yeah. So I will say it's the responsibility that I feel that I have as the student body president is to represent everybody. And that can be kind of tough when, I really only know firsthand about what it's like to be a medical student, but I'm also representing nursing students, pharmacy students, dental students, all the students. So one of my big responsibilities is trying to understand what everyday life looks like for those other students that I may not have personal experience with, and then to represent their interests. So just having to have a really good understanding of what it's like to be any kind of student. And then portraying that to the different stakeholders, like you say, is also a difficult task because a lot of these people have different constraints and different goals than me, and to show them that the student voice is important and that there is a way that all of our interests can work together to find a common goal. Has been one of the things that I've worked on.
And do you think your background in the arts may have helped you in some ways? Do you see an interplay between the health professions and the arts and how that connects to leadership?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that I learned about in music school is intuition and communication. In music school we have this thing called master class. One person, there's a piano. Well, for me there's a piano, and then there's 15 of the other people in your studio, other students, and then 2 professors. And one by one we go up there and we play our piece in different levels of preparation, wherever we're at. It's very vulnerable. And then everyone goes one by one and gives you feedback and critiques you. And but we learned a lot about using a collaborative tone. I'm not critiquing you, I'm giving you a compliment sandwich, and I'm always going to give credit where credit is due. And
I like that, a compliment sandwich.
Yeah, that's exactly how they taught it too.
Yeah.
And that the compliment sandwich, and also just seeing every interaction as a collaboration rather than a standoff, has been so important in healthcare, because of course having a collaborative, no patient wants to be lectured at. They want to be working with the doctor. And even in leadership, when I speak with students and I speak with administrators like yourself, I find myself leaning on a lot of those communication skills, so that no one feels attacked and everyone feels like we're on the same team.
Well, certainly communication is a really strong pillar for all of the health professions, because, as they say, and it may sound trite, that our patients never care what you know till they know that you care. And the only way they know that you care is through your ability to communicate with them. So let's talk a little bit about mentorship for a minute or two. All of us have had mentors along the way. I'm wondering if you've had that same kind of experience, and also whether you've had an opportunity to mentor other students, because now you're a 4th-year med student. Very soon you'll get your degree. I hope to hand it to you and celebrate with you. And then on to your residency. We'll talk about that in a minute too.
Yeah. I would say one of my first mentors has been my dad. He's always been a big source of wisdom for me. I go to my dad with anything, any advice, and he was actually a lead architect of software at UP. So he knows a little bit about leadership, and he's been able to give me some advice. And then at UNMC specifically, Dr. Shantaram Joshi, he was the one who suggested that I go for class president when I was a little not sure if I wanted to do that yet. And of course that has changed my whole med school experience. And then actually Taylor Cradaville, who was the student regent, as you know, when I was a first-year medical student, he really helped me with all the class president kind of decisions I was having to make as an M1, and then also was such a good example for me. And even now I call him up every few weeks, or when I'm dealing with something, and we chat on the phone, and he gives me lots of advice. So.
Well, Taylor was certainly a great student regent. All of our student regents are
Yes.
phenomenal, and I'm so privileged to work with them every day. So let's talk a little bit about the future. It's almost match time here, and for those of you that don't know, the way students, med students, when they are in their last year, they go into what's called a match process, which means it's almost like speed dating, where you tell residency programs you're interested, they tell you that they're interested. There are interviews frequently on Zoom, and then they fill out a form, you fill out a form, and somewhere in some big computer system, marriage happens.
Yeah.
So what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so I am interviewing at lots of places for psychiatry. I never saw myself being a psychiatrist when I came into med school, but it became very clear during my third year on rotation that that's what I wanted to do, and I'm having some
Was that based upon a mentorship relationship?
I would say so. There was an influential professor, Dr. David Taylor, and I really liked his style, and that really solidified that psychiatry was for me. And so I'm interviewing lots of places. Lots of regents have been encouraging me to stay in Nebraska, but it could be Nebraska. I've had some interviews in Minneapolis and also Portland, so we'll see where it goes.
Well, whether your residency and fellowship programs take you out of Nebraska or not, you're always welcome to come back. Well, I want to thank you for all that you do as a student regent, for all that you do as the president of our student body. It is a pleasure and an honor to work with you, and it's a lot of fun to have you on our broadcasts.
Of course.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us today.